there, I'm Noel Feather. I'd like to take a couple of minutes to talk a little bit about rattling and the various ways that we do it, and maybe certain times of the year that the way you'd want to rattle. Say it's early October. A buck is not really in rut, so to speak. He'd breed if the doe would cooperate. So I guess you'd have to say the buck is in rut, but the doe is not in rut. There's not much fighting going on at that time of year. Mostly what you're going to see is young bucks pushing each other around, just a kind of a push and shove thing. Neither buck gets hurt much. And the sounds that you're going to hear is what is the sound that you want to make. Say, if in the early season you're going to hear a buck maybe just barely hit the horns together like this. No loud sound. Or you might hear just a tickle of the tips. That's the way you'd want to rattle in the early season. You wouldn't want to get real loud, real aggressive with the horns, because if you do, I think you're going to spook a buck. And that's one of the reasons why in the early season I think a grunt call is probably a little bit more productive than the rattle horns, I'd say up until the middle of October. Okay, now suppose it's 1st of November, clear up through November and into December. The bucks are fighting hard over the does. There's a lot of breeding going on. This is the sound that you're going to hear at that time of year. Put some pauses in there. Maybe you want to just tickle the tips a little bit then, too. But the pauses are important. Suppose the two bucks have been fighting, they break apart. Okay, they're walking around there. Each one's kind of eyeballing the other. He's looking for an opening. Okay, he sees an opening. He charges him. He's going to run in and stick him in the rib. You're going to get that sound as the two horns crash together. That's because the other buck didn't want to get stuck in the ribs, and so he turns and meets him head on, and that's when you get that crash in the horns like that, see? More twisting, grinding, to break apart, more pauses. So to me, the thing that really makes horn rattling real and authentic is the pauses that you put in there. Deer can't move their heads that fast that you're going to hear just a bang, bang, bang sound. It's the coming together, twisting, shoving, each one trying to stick the other's nose right in the dirt, and sometimes that's just exactly what happens. Horn rattling is something that, to me, it's the exciting way to hunt. It's a fun way to hunt. I think it's a good way to take a big buck. I use a grunt call a lot when I'm rattling, because suppose you rattle a buck in and he hangs up on you at, say, 70 or 80 yards. He's standing there looking. He thinks he should see a fight going on, and that's exactly what he's looking for. There is no fight. The buck gets a little suspicious. He may turn and just melt back into the brush the way he came, because you don't dare use the rattle horns when that buck is that close to you. But if you've got a grunt call with you, you can take this grunt call and hit a few grunts. That could be just enough of a little coaxer to tell that buck that the real thing is there and bring him on in. And a grunt call is just as effective as a pair of rattle horns, if the buck hears it. But he's not going to hear a grunt call at the distance he'll hear a pair of rattle horns. But they work real good together.